as it is to Srila Baladev Gita-Bhusana presented so nicely the Govinda-Bhashya commentary on Vedanta philosophy. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvana Raghunathamritam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sarvan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyadi Pashatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravani Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Then I'll read out this preface. And after the preface, before we go to the introduction, I'll read out Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's article on the commentator on Sri Baladev Gita-Bhusana. Preface. Originally, I wrote Bhagavad-gita as it is in the form in which it is presented now. When this book was first published, the original manuscript was unfortunately cut short to less than 400 pages, without illustrations and without explanations for most of the original verses of the Srimad Bhagavad-gita. This is also available. We'll find it in. We'll find it. In 1968 edition, abridged edition. So if you check any chapter, a number of purports are cut down. In all of my other books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Ishopanishad, etc., the system is that I give the original verse, its English transliteration, word for word Sanskrit English equivalents, translations, and purports. This makes the book very authentic and scholarly and makes the meaning self-evident. I was not very happy therefore, when I had to minimize my original manuscript. But later on, when the demand for Bhagavad-gita as it is considerably increased, I was requested by many scholars and devotees to present the book in its original form. Thus, the present attempt is to offer the original manuscript of this great book of knowledge with full parampara explanation in order to establish the Krishna consciousness movement more soundly and progressively. If you want to soundly and progressively establish the Krishna consciousness movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you should be well acquainted with the full parampara explanation of the scriptures. Our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. It is gradually becoming the most popular movement in the entire world, especially amongst the younger generation. It is becoming more and more interesting to the older generation also. Older gentlemen are becoming interested, so much so that the fathers and grandfathers of our disciples are encouraging us by becoming life members of our great society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In Los Angeles, many fathers and mothers used to come to see me to express their feelings of gratitude for my leading the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the entire world. Some of them said that it is greatly fortunate for the Americans that have started the Krishna consciousness movement in America. But actually, the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself. Since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by disciplic succession. If I have any credit in this connection, it does not belong to me personally. but it is due to my eternal spiritual master, His divine grace. Om Vishnupara Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotra Shata Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. If personally I have any credit in this matter, it is only that I have tried to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any adulteration. Before my presentation of Bhagavad Gita as it is, almost all the English editions of Bhagavad Gita were introduced to fulfill someone's personal ambition. But our attempt in presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is to present the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Our business is to present the will of Krishna, not that of any mundane speculator like the politician, philosopher, or scientist. For they have very little knowledge of Krishna despite all their other knowledge. When Krishna says, Manmana bhava madbhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, etc., we, unlike the so-called scholars, do not say that Krishna and his inner spirit are different. Krishna is absolute, and there is no difference between Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, etc. This absolute position of Krishna is difficult to understand for any person who is not a devotee of Krishna in the system of parampara, disciplic succession. Generally, the so-called scholars, politicians, philosophers, and swamis, without perfect knowledge of Krishna, try to or kill Krishna when commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Authorized commentary upon Bhagavad Gita is known as Mayavada Bhashya, and Lord Chaitanya has warned us about these unauthorized men. Lord Chaitanya clearly says that anyone who tries to understand Bhagavad Gita from the Maya point of view will commit a great blunder. Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoy Sarvanash. So, the Mayavadi Bhashya on the Vedanta, Upanishads, on Bhagavad, or any other scripture. The result of such a blunder of Bhagavad Gita, path of spiritual guidance, and will be able to go back to God. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. The voice was breaking only for me or for everyone.
I don't know. Let's try it out.
Now it is okay.
Even for me, it was breaking.
Let's just continue. Our only purpose is to present this Bhagavad Gita as it is, in order to guide the conditioned student to the same purpose for which Krishna descends to this planet once in a day of Brahma, or every 8,600,000,000 years. This purpose is stated in Bhagavad Gita, and we have to accept it as it is. Otherwise, there's no point in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita and its speaker, Lord Krishna. Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma. And the purpose for which he comes is to convince the living entities to surrender unto him. Even the Sri Vaishnavas have that idea that one of the primary purposes for Lord Krishna's incarnation is to simply speak the Bhagavad Gita. This purpose is stated in Bhagavad Gita, and we have to accept it as it is. Otherwise, there is no point in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita and its speaker, Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god some hundreds of millions of years ago. We have to accept this fact and thus understand the historical significance of Bhagavad Gita without misinterpretation on the authority of Krishna. To interpret Bhagavad Gita without any reference to the will of Krishna is the greatest offense. In order to save oneself from this offense, one has to understand the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as he was directly understood by Arjuna. So Arjuna understood Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of God, the one and only Supreme Being, and that all the other worshipable deities taught in Vedic culture are subordinate to this one and only Supreme Being, as he was directly understood by Arjuna, Lord Krishna's first disciple. Such understanding of Bhagavad Gita is really profitable and authorized for the welfare of human society in fulfilling the mission of life. The Krishna consciousness movement is essential in human society, for it offers the highest perfection of life. How this is so is explained fully in the Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, mundane wranglers have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita. Unnecessarily argumentative persons have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita to push forward their demoniac propensities and mislead people regarding right understanding of the simple principles of life. Everyone should know how God or Krishna is great, and everyone should know the factual position of the living entities. Everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and that unless one serves Krishna, one has to serve illusion in different varieties of the three modes of material nature, and thus wander perpetually within the cycle of birth and death. Even the so-called liberated Mayavadi speculator has to undergo this process. This knowledge constitutes a great science, and each and every living being has to hear it for his own interest. People in general, especially in this age of Kali, are enamored by the external energy of Krishna, and they wrongly think that by advancement of material comforts, every man will be happy. They have no knowledge that the material or external nature is very strong, for everyone is strongly bound by the stringent laws of material nature. A living entity is happily the part and parcel of the law, and thus his natural function is to render immediate service to the law. Immediate service means because the Jivatma is directly connected with Krishna. He is not connected to Krishna through the material world. See, in this world, I am related to other personalities in this world through my subtle body, my gross body, and that person's subtle body and gross body. But that's not how I am related to Krishna. So my service to Krishna in purity will be immediate. It will be direct. I am there, Krishna is there. Krishna is actually inside me also. So it is very, very direct and immediate. By the spell of illusion, one tries to be happy by serving his personal sense gratification in different forms, which will never make him happy. Instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, he has to satisfy the senses of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. That is the highest perfection of life. The Lord wants this and he demands it. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru is spoken by the Lord twice. And before he mentions it the second time, he says, this is the supreme instruction that I'm going to give you. Most confidential and supreme instruction. So he is actually demanding it. One has to understand this central point of Bhagavad Gita. Our Krishna consciousness movement is teaching the whole world this central point. And because we are not polluting the theme of Bhagavad Gita as it is, anyone seriously interested in deriving benefit by studying the Bhagavad Gita must take help from the Krishna consciousness movement for practical understanding of Bhagavad Gita under the direct guidance of the Lord. We hope, therefore, that people will derive the greatest benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, as we have presented it here. And if even one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 12 May 1971, Sydney, Australia. Then we come to introduction. There's a question. Yes.
Hare Krishna, bro.
You are echoing.
Yeah. Prabhu, why Prabhupada is mentioning here that only one pure devotee by reading this our Bhagavad Gita?
If at least one person becomes a pure devotee, then the mission is successful. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also said that. If even one person becomes a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, one person attains Krishna Prema, the mission is success. All this gigantic setup is for that, because we know how difficult it is. Okay, let's move forward. Bhashyakarer Vivaran. Details
Prabhu,
about the.
one more thing. So when he says in the 9th chapter, 2nd shloka, he mentions that but it is joyfully performed. The process is joyfully performed, but it is difficult at the same time. So what is that joyfully performed?
Okay, we will see that when we come there. Prabhupada will both explain how it is joyfully performed. He will also explain how it is difficult. We will see both as we go through it.
Okay.
Okay. গীতা শাস্ত্রের অনেকগুলি ভাষ্য আছে. There are several commentaries on the scripture Bhagavad Gita. ভারতীয় প্রধান আচার্যগণ সকলেই শ্রুতি ভাষ্য, বেদান্ত সূত্র ভাষ্য ও গীতা ভাষ্য রচনা করেন. The chief acharyas in India, in Bharata, have composed, all of them have composed commentaries on the Shruti, commentaries on Vedanta Sutra, and commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Chari Sampradayir বৈষ্ণব আচার্যগণ এই সকল গ্রন্থের ভাষ্য রচনা করিয়াছেন. The Vaishnava acharyas of the four sampradayas have composed commentaries and on all of these texts. Sri Gaudiya Jana Upasya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dever Bhakta Sampradaya যদিও শ্রীমদ আনন্দ তীর্থ মধ্যমুনির সাম্প্রদায়িক অধস্থন পরিচয়ে পরিচিত, though the sampradaya of the devotees of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the object of worship for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, even though they are known as descendants in the sampradaya of Srimad Ananda Tirtham Madhva Muni, tathapi still Gaudiya Jana Upasya Sri Chaitanya Dever Ashrita Kul Gaura Parshadanu Modita Bhashye Adhikatar Priti Labh Karen. The community that has taken shelter of Lord Sri Chaitanya, who is the object of the worship of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they find greater happiness in the commentaries approved by associates of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sri Baladev Vidya-Bhushan, Sri Gaudiya Vaishnava Samaje, Sri Govinda Das নামে প্রসিদ্ধ ছিলেন. Sri Baladev Vidya-Bhushan was famous within the society of Sri Gaudiya Vaishnavas by the name Sri Govinda Das. তিনি গৌড়ীয় গণের বেদান্ত আচার্য. He is the Vedanta Acharya for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. তাহার वेदांत न्यायान मोदित श्री मध्वानुगत्य अतुलनीय. His subservience to Sri Madhvacharya as approved by the teachings of the Vedanta Sutra is unparalleled. Gaudadesher Upakanthe Utkal Deshe Baleshwar Upari Bhager অন্তর্গত রেমুনার নিকট একটি পল্লীতে ভাষ্যকারের জন্ম হয়। The commentator's birth was in a village near Remuna within the upper part of Baleshwar in Utkal Desh, Odisha, which is near Gaudadesh. भाष्यकार शौक्र वैश्य कुलोद्भूत कृषिजीवी खंडायत जातिर मध्य प्रथमे भास्कर आलोक संदर्शन करें। The commentator first saw the light of the day within the Khandayat caste, which subsisted on agriculture and which descended from a community of seminal Vaishyas. Pore Daikshya Savitriya Kule Grihita Hoya Sod Achar Sampanna Vaishnav Brahman Boliya Prasiddhi Labh Kare. Afterwards, he was accepted into a community which awarded Brahmanical initiation, and he became well known as a Vaishnava Brahmana endowed with saintly conduct. भाष्यकार विरक्त शिरोमणि श्री पीतांबर दासेर निकट भक्ति शास्त्र अध्ययने नैपुण्य लाभ करें. The commentator attained expertise in the study of the Bhakti Shastras from Sri Pitambar Das, a crest jewel amongst the renunciates. Pore later Sri Radha Damodar Das नामक एकजन कान्यकुब्ज बासी शौक्र विप्र कुलोद्भूत दीक्षित वैष्णवेर निकट कृपा लाभ करें. Later he attained the mercy of a Vaishnava, of an initiated Vaishnava who had taken birth in a community of seminal Vipras. This initiated devotee was a resident of Kanyakubja and his name was Sri Radha Damodar Das. Sri Radha Damodar Vedanta Syamantaker Lekhak. Sri Radha Damodar was the author of Vedanta Syamantaka and Sri Rasikananda Murari Pautra एवं सेवक श्री नयनानंद देव गोस्वामीर शिष्य छिलेन. He was a disciple of Sri Nayanananda Deva Goswami, who was the grandson and servant of Sri Rasikananda Murari. Rasikananda Murari Bhashyakarer Pancharatrik Guru Paramparje Chaturtha Purva Purush. Rasikananda Murari was the fourth predecessor of the commentator in his Pancharatrika Guru Parampara. Sri Rasikananda Murari, Sri Shyamanandir Shishya. Sri Rasikananda Murari was a disciple of Sri Shyamananda. Sri Shyamanandir Guru, Sri Hriday Chaitanya, Sri Nityananda Shishya Gauridas Panditer Shishya. Sri Shyamananda's Guru, Sri Hriday Chaitanya, was a disciple of Gauridas Pandit, who was a disciple of Sri Nityananda. Abba, besides this, Sri Shyamananda, Parvarti Kale, Sri Jiva Goswamir Kripa Labh Karen. Sri Shyamananda at a later point in time, attained the mercy of Sri Jiva Goswami. Sri Jiver Guru Parampar Je, Sri Rup O Todiya Guru, Sri Sanatana. In Sri Jiva's Guru Parampara are Sri Rupa and his Guru, Sri Sanatana. Sri Sanatana, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dever Sahachar. Sri Sanatana was an associate of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. भाष्यकार जे एकमात्र गीतार भाष्य लिखे आছেন এরূপ নহে. It is not that the commentator just wrote a commentary on the Gita alone. 1685 Shakabde. What is this AD? Can someone look it up? Sri Rupa Goswami Sankalita Stavabalir Tika Pranayan Karen. He composed a commentary on prayers compiled by Sri Rupa Goswami. This must be around 1750 AD, around this time. भाष्यकार ब्रह्मसूत्रेर गोविंद भाष्य नामक भाष्य लिखिया सुधी मंडलेर निकट परम आदरेर वस्तु हইয়াছে. The commentator wrote a commentary on the Brahma Sutra named Govinda Bhashya and has become the object of great respect for scholars, for the learned souls. Govinda Bhashyer tahar nijakృত একটি টিকাও আছে. There is also a commentary on the Govinda Bhashya written by him. This is called the Sukshma Tika. And it appears that either he wrote it himself or he had one Vedanta Vagish do it. But definitely he was involved in that. Etad Vyathit, apart from this, Bhashya Pithak Name Ekhani Grantha Rachana Karen. He composed a supplement to the Bhashya, a book called Bhashya Pithaka. ওই গ্রন্থ সিদ্ধান্ত রত্ন নামে প্রসিদ্ধি লাভ করিয়াছে. And that book has become famous with the name Siddhanta Ratna. Siddhanta Ratner ekti tika o bhashyakar rachana koriyachen. The commentator also wrote a commentary on Siddhanta Ratna. Again, this also appears to have been indirectly through Vedanta Vagisha. Taha rachita Dashopanishad Bhashyes Sakal Guli Pavana Geleo ঈশাবাস্যের ভাষ্য কয়েকটি সংস্করণে বৈষ্ণব শ্রীকর কমল বিভূষিত করিতেছে. Though the commentaries composed by him on the 10 Upanishads, though all of the commentaries composed by him on the 10 Upanishads are not available, his commentary on Ishavasya Upanishad has decorated the sacred lotus hands of the Vaishnavas in a few editions. Siddhanta Darpan namak grantha, Pramaya Ratnavali, Kavya Kaustubha grantha or Sahitya Kaumadi, Vyakaran Kaumadi namak grantha samuha tahar krititver parichay diteche. A book named Siddhanta Darpan, Pramaya Ratnavali, the book Kavya Kaustubha, and Sahitya Kaumadi, Vyakarana Kaumadi, books with these names, they inform us of his authorship. Bhashyakar, Gopal Tapani Bhashya, Krishnanandini Tika, Chandah Kaustubha Bhashya, লঘু ভাগবত অমৃতের টিকা প্রভৃতি অনেকগুলি ব্যাখ্যা গ্রন্থ রাখিয়া গিয়াছেন. the commentator has left a number of explanatory texts, such as his commentary to the Gopalatapani Upanishad, his commentary named Krishnanandini, his commentary on Chandah Kaustubha, his commentary on Laghu Bhagavatam. তাহার রচিত শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতের টিকা আমাদের হস্তগত হয় নাই। The commentary composed on Srimad Bhagavata by him has not reached our hands. But then later on, the first canto commentary was discovered. His 10th canto commentary was also, his 10th canto commentary I think was discovered around that time also. Tattva Sandarbher টিকাও তাহার অলৌকিক পাণ্ডিত্য প্রতিভার পরিচয় দিতেছে. His commentary on Tattva Sandarbha also reveals his extraordinary scholarship, extraordinary outstanding scholarship. জয়দেবের চন্দ্রালোক নামক অলঙ্কার গ্রন্থের টিকা ও সেই রূপের নাটক চন্দ্রিকার টিকা তিনি রচনা করিয়াছেন. He has composed a commentary on an Alankar Shastra named Chandralok by one Jayadev, and a commentary on Sri Rupa Goswami's Nataka Chandrika. প্রাকৃত সাহাজিক সম্প্রদায় যে রূপ শ্রী রূপ গোস্বামীর অনুগত জন পরিচয় দিয়া আচার্য শ্রীপাদ জীবের চরণে অপরাধ পুঞ্জ সঞ্চয় করেন, অধুনাতন কালে জাতি গোস্বামী সম্প্রদায়ের কতিপয় সহজিয়া চক্রবর্তী ঠাকুরের অনুগত অভিমানে প্রাকৃত সাহাজিক ধর্ম অবলম্বনে ভাষ্যকারের প্রতি নানা প্রকার অবজ্ঞাসূচক বাক্য প্রয়োগ করিয়া নিরয়গামী হয়. Just as the community of Prakrita Sahajiyas identify themselves as followers of Sri Rupa Goswami and accumulate offenses at the feet of Sripad Jiva Goswami, at the feet of the Acharya Sripad Jiva Goswami. Nowadays, the Jati Goswami community, some of the Sahajiyas belonging to the Jati Goswami community consider themselves to be Chakravarti Thakur's followers, and on the basis of their Sahajiyaism, they use various insulting words of various kinds regarding the commentator, and they go to hell. যে সকল মতিচ্ছন্ন শৌক্রকুলোদ্ভূত ব্রাহ্মণ ধ্রুব योनधीत्यद्विजो वेदम अन्यत्र कुरुते श्रमम स जीवन्नेव शूद्रत्वम् आशुगच्छति सान्वयः इति स्मृतिवाक्य गोपन करिया अपराधिके ब्राह्मण भ्रू संज्ञाय प्रचलित करिते चेष्टा करेन ताहाराय বলিয়া থাকেন ব্রাহ্মণ ভ্রুয়েতর কুলে বৈষ্ণবাচার্যের জন্মগ্রহণ विद्याभूषण आदि संज्ञा ग्रहण व श्रुति आदि शास्त्राध्ययन संभव न है. There are those with a deluded intelligence who have taken birth in seminal Brahmana lineages and who consider themselves to be Brahmanas. They have hidden from the public statements of the Dharma Shastras, such as that twice born Brahmana who does not study the Veda and who unnecessarily labors in other pursuits in that very life becomes a Shudra along with his family. By hiding statements like this, they endeavor to portray themselves as Brahmanas. Only they say that it is impossible for one who is not born in a seminal Brahmana family to have taken birth as a Vaishnava Acharya, to accept titles such as Vidya-Bhusana, and to study the scriptures such as the Shruti. Tahader oitikya gyaner daridrata nitantra shochaniya. The poverty of their knowledge of history is very pitiable. विद्याभूषण महाशयी एक कल्पित जुक्तिर विभंजनकारी. The revered Vidyabhushana is himself the destroyer of this false concocted logic. वृत्त ब्राह्मण होते शौक्र ब्राह्मण कुल उद्भूत होइया मनवादी प्रचलित स्मार्त धर्म ग्रहण करें. Those who are Brahmanas from those who are functioning Brahmanas, the community of seminal Brahmanas have taken birth. And they accept the duties of the Smritis that are presented in Manu and other Dharma Shastras. Gita Shastra is सकल मतवादेर विरोधी वृत्त वर्णेर पक्ष ग्रहण करियाछेन. And the Gita Shastra has accepted the position of varnas by occupation in contradiction to all of these other opinions. That means the opinions of these seminal Brahmanas and so on. Mahabharate sthane sthane Srimad Bhagavato tad Anuga Goswami Grantha Agama Pramanya O Narad Adi Pacharatra Ramarchana Chandrika Pravritti Paddhati Granthe Alochana Obhave Bangiya Smartakul Shrauta Pather Antarai Hoya Darai Achilen. Because of not having studied the portions, different portions of Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavata, along with the writings of the six Goswamis that follow the Srimad Bhagavata, Agama Pramanya, the Pancharatric scriptures beginning with Narada Pancharatra, and manuals such as Ramarchana Chandrika. The community of Smartas in Bengal stood up in opposition to the pathway of the Vedic Shrutis, Shrautapantha. Shrautapantha refers to the actual Vedic disciplic succession. Sri Thakur Narottam, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Haridas Thakur, Pravriti, Acharya Kul, Bahirmukha, Akshajavadi, Tarkapatha, Kunjara Danta Bhagna Koriya Diyachen. Sri Thakur Narottam, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Haridas Thakur, and other acharyas have broken the tusks of the elephant-like pathway of empirical argumentation adopted by those who are averse to the teachings of the scriptures, the real teachings of the scriptures. Shrotapantha bhakti patheri namanta. The pathway of the Shrutis is just another name for the pathway of Krishna Bhakti. Tarkapantha bahirmukhan nastik sampradayir vasana mule jato. The pathway of argumentation is born from the material desires of the community of averse atheists. Atheists who are averse to devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Gita পাঠক এই সকল আলোচনা করিলেই পরমার্থ সুগম পথের পথিক হইতে পারিবেন. A student of Bhagavad Gita, the reader of Bhagavad Gita is the reader of Bhagavad Gita, discusses all of this and understands all of this, he can become a successful traveler on the easy pathway of spirituality. ভাষ্যকারের অনুগত শ্রী উদ্ধর দাস বা উদ্ধব দাস বা তত অনুগব উদ্ধব দাস শ্রী মধুসূদন ও শ্রী জগন্নাথ দাস পরমহংস পথের পথিক সূত্রে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি ধর্ম প্রচার করিয়াছেন. Following the commentator, Sri Uddhar Das or Uddhava Das, or Uddhava Das who was a follower of Uddhar Das, Sri Madhusudan and Sri Jagannath, all of them, they preached Shuddha Bhakti Dharma as travelers on the pathway of Paramahamsa life. তাহাই গৌড়ীয়গণের পরম শ্রদ্ধার বিষয়. They are the ones who are objects of the supreme respect for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati. Okay. Then so okay, then we start with introduction. Yeah. Here. Question.
Prabhu, I still have that confusion regarding that one pure devotee. So, Lord come here to this material world to deliver the conditioned souls. And
So at least one person, if he becomes pure devotee, if one person can make another one person into pure devotee, that is considered a great sign, great success.
but why Prabhupada is saying only one? That is what I always get so much problematic. But any
Okay, no problem.
process, if some people, if any system, if we see, they properly followed, then if success, there is success for thousands or thousand people also can become success. Just like we say that Sarvo Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. But only for one person, we are making so much endeavor, then what is the use?
The use is that one person will be delivered. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Therefore, that one soul for that.
But
Let
there
us
are
all,
innumerable souls.
there are innumerable souls, correct. But first of all, let us ourselves become one of those souls, and let us try to, we preach to everybody. We know that in this world, everybody is averse to pure devotion service to Lord Krishna. So, at least if one person becomes that, Krishna will be very satisfied with us. If we can do more than that, Krishna will be more satisfied. But if one person can attain Krishna Prema, Sadhana Siddhi and Bhakti Yoga, Krishna will be very satisfied with us. Okay?
But when Krishna himself is coming and giving the direct instructions, direct process, everything, but still only why he asking only one person?
He is not asking only one. He wants everybody to be delivered. But if you can become perfect and you can help one more person become perfect, Krishna is satisfied with you.
So but
Yes.
literally, if we see that everyone can deliver themselves, they follow the Bhagavad-gita.
Yeah. Theoretically, we all know that. We know that theory.
But practically, when it comes, then it comes again only that Manusanam Sahasras.
You have to see. In fact, Prabhupada said that was in Dwapara Yuga, he said, Manushanam Sahasreshu. In Kali Yuga, then what is that? He said millions issue. He said it is some even more difficult. Okay, let's get back to this. These things will become clear as we go through it. Patiently, we have to go through it. And as we study, then we'll understand things better and better. Okay. What I'll do now is I'll take up the introduction. The introduction goes for 2 or 3 pages here. And then I will also take up Bhaktivinoda's introduction. And then afterwards, I'll come to Prabhupada's introduction. So in that way, we'll be able to see how they're all connected. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jayataha. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga. Srimad Bhagavad-gita, Prathamadhyaya, first chapter. Srimad Baladev Vidya-Bhusana Kritam Gita-Bhusana Bhashyam. The commentary Gita-Bhusana, an ornament to Bhagavad-gita, composed by Srimad Baladev Vidya-Bhusana. Om Namah Shri Govindaya. Om. Obeisance unto Shri Govinda. Satyananta Chintya Shaktiyeka Pakshe Sarvadhyakshe Bhakta Rakshati Dakshe. Shri Govinde. Shri Govinde Vishwasargadi Kande Purna Nande Nityamastam Matir Me. May my mind be always fixed on Shri Govinda. And Shri Govinda has been described through many adjectives here. Satya Ananta Achintya Shakti Eka Pakshe. He is the sole possessor of inconceivable, true, and unlimited potencies. Sarvadhyakshe, Sarva Adhyakshe. He is the superintendent of everything. He is the controller of everything. Bhakta Raksha Ati Dakshe.
मजा आ रहा है
Bhakta Raksha Ati Dakshe.
तो साथ दे रहे हैं मुझे
Haribol. Bhakta Raksha Ati Dakshe. He is extremely expert. He is very expert in protecting his devotees. Vishwasarga Adi Kande. He is the root cause of the world's creation, maintenance, sustenance, and so on. And he is referred to as Purnanande. he has complete bliss. May my mind be always fixed on him. This is a prayer. Ajnana nirathirupayati yaya vishosham bhakti parapi bhajate pariposham uchchai tattvam param spurati durgamam api ajasram sadgunya vrit swarachitam pranamami gitam. I offer my obeisances unto Bhagavad-gita, which was composed by the possessor of all auspicious transcendental qualities. Through this Bhagavad-gita, the ocean of ignorance attains dryness. That means the Bhagavad-gita dries up the ocean of ignorance. And even transcendental bhakti is very loudly, very greatly nourished in this Bhagavad-gita. And in this Bhagavad-gita, we will see the eternal, though inconceivable, the eternal supreme person who is the supreme truth is revealed. So I offer my obeisances unto Bhagavad-gita, which has all of these characteristics. Atha sukhachid ghanaha swayam bhagavan achintya shaktihi purushottamah swasankalpa ayat vichitra jagat udaya adihi virinchi adi sanchintya charanaha swajanma adi lilaya swatulyan सह आविर्भूतान पार्षदान प्रहर्षयन तया एव जीवान बहून अविद्या शार्दूली वदनात् विमोच्य स्व अंतर्धान उत्तर भाविनः अन्यान उद्दीर्षुः आहवमूर्ध्नि स्व आत्मभूतम अपि अर्जुनम अवितर्क्य स्वशक्त्या समोहम इव कुर्वन् तत् मोह विमार्जन अपदेशेन सपरिकर स्व आत्म याथात्म्य एक निरूपिकां स्वगीता उपनिषदम उपादिशत्. The concentrated form of bliss and knowledge, who is Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead, who is Lord Purushottama, who is filled with inconceivable potencies. By his mere desire, the creation, maintenance, annihilation of the variegated universes are brought about. The creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the variegated universes depend simply upon his desire to function, for them to happen. His lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other worshipable deities. He, while delighting his associates through his pastimes such as birth, and these associates, they had appeared along with him, and as such, by his arrangement, they are equal to him. So he delights his pastime, his associates, when he executes his pastimes here. So while he's delighting his associates, through those very pastimes, he actually fully liberated several conditioned souls. He rescued them from the mouth of the tigress of ignorance. And then he also wanted to deliver other such conditioned souls who are going to take birth in the future after his disappearance from this world. Therefore, at the forefront of a war, he instructed the Bhagavad-gita, which is an Upanishad, to Arjuna, even though Arjuna is as dear to him as his own life, and who is of the same transcendental nature as him, still through his supralogical personal potency, his inconceivable personal potency, he made him as if bewildered. And then on the pretext of removing that delusion from him, he instructed to him this Upanishad known as Bhagavad-gita. This Bhagavad-gita is primarily discussing about his Lord Krishna's factual nature. Lord Krishna, along with everything that he utilizes for his purposes. Tasyam khalu Ishvara Jiva Prakriti Kala Karmani Pancha Arthaha Varnyante. Indeed, in this Bhagavad Gita, 5 topics are described, or 5 entities are described. They are Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. Teshu, among these 5, Vibhu Samvid Ishvaraha. Ishvara is the one who is infinite and conscious. So the infinite conscious is Ishvara. Anu Samvid Jiva, the finite conscious being, or you can say the infinitesimal conscious being. The minute conscious being is the Jiva. The atomic conscious being is the Jiva. The unlimited conscious being is Ishvara. Sattvadi gunatraya ashrayaha dravyam prakritihi. Prakriti is also a dravya. It's also a substance that is a shelter for 3 qualities: Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Traigunya Shunyam Jadadravyam Kalaha. Kala is another dravya, another substance, which is also unconscious, Jada. Prakriti is also Jada. Both Ishvara and Jiva are Samvit, they are conscious, whereas Prakriti and Kala are Jada, unconscious. So time is also unconscious, but time is devoid of the 3 gunas, whereas Prakriti possesses the 3 gunas. Om prayatna nishpadhyam adrishta adi shabda vachyam karma iti tesham lakshanani. And then karma is that which is produced by the endeavor of the conditioned souls. Karma is also referred to by words such as adrishta, the unseen force of destiny. It is nothing but our own karma. Iti tesham lakshanani. These are the definitions of each of these 5 entities that are described in Bhagavad-gita. Eshu Ishvara Adini Chatvari Nityani. Amongst these five, the four beginning with Ishvara, that means the first four, they are eternal. Jiva Adini tu Isha Vashyani. The four beginning with Jiva. That means Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. They are under the control of Ishvara. Karma tu Prag Abhavavat Anadi Vinashicha. When it comes to karma, we should know that it has no former existence. Like non-former existence, it is Anadi and Vinashi. It has no beginning, but it has an end. Tatra, now this prag abhavavat, like prior non-existence. This is all studied in Nyaya, in logic. Tatra samvit swarupaha api Ishvaraha Jivaha cha samvitta asmadarthaha cha. Amongst them, though Ishvara and the Jiva are consciousness, still they are conscious, and they also have a sense of self-identity. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma Yas Sarvagyas Sarvavit Manta Bodha Karta Vijnanatma Purushaha Ityadi Shrute. We know this from Shruti texts which say Brahman is consciousness and bliss, which means Brahman is conscious and blissful. Yes, Sarvagyas Sarvavit. He knows everything and he can get everything. Manta Bodha Karta Vijnanatma Purushaha. The Purusha, who is Vijnana-atma, which is the living entity, the Jivatma, is a thinker, is a knower, and is a doer. It's a doer means he's the responsible agent. So Kamayata Bahusyam Sukamaham Aswapsam Nakinchid Avedisham Ityadi Shrutehe cha. We also know this from other texts, from other texts which we have heard, such as he desired, let me become many. I slept very happily and I did not know anything. So from these kinds of texts, it is clear that even though Ishvara and Jiva are consciousness, they are consciousness in the sense that they are exclusively spiritual. Still, they are conscious beings. Because they are conscious beings. See, that Brahman means Ishvara. In Baladev Vidya-Bhushan's language, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan are synonyms. In general, they are all synonyms. This is also the language of the Vedanta Sutra itself. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan are synonyms in Vedanta Darshan. So here is the first text itself is evidence that Brahman is consciousness, but the second text is evidence that he is conscious. The third text here, clear evidence that the Vijnana Purusha or the Jivatma is a thinker, he's a knower, and he is a responsible agent, he is considered a doer. That means he has to enjoy or suffer the consequences of his activities. karta. Shruti is saying that. So from that we understand that the Jivatma is also a knower, in addition to being knowledge. And this statement, he desired, may I become many. This shows that Brahman thinks about himself. He has self-identity. He is aware of himself. And the other text, I slept happily. I did not know anything. This is a description of deep sleep. This proves that the Jivatma also has self-awareness. न च उभयत्र महत्त्वजातः ayam ahankarah. This self-identification should not be considered to be ahankara or false ego that is generated from the Mahatattva in both of these cases. Tada tasya anutpattehe vilinatvatcha. Because at that time, means at these two respective times, this time, at the time the Supreme Being thinks, may I become many, and may I initiate creation. At that time, and at this time, at the time of deep sleep, this ahankara that is generated from Mahatattva would not have been in existence. Vilinatvacha, because it was also merged into Prakriti. It is merged into Prakriti before creation began. So, akamayata bahusyam, prior to creation. And at the type of deep sleep also, the living entity is not in touch with any aspect of matter, neither gross nor subtle. That is accepted. Question.
Prabhu, how to understand this karma has no beginning but it has an end? Looks logically difficult to accommodate.
Yeah, it is like prior non-existence. No, but it is, it has no beginning, but it can be destroyed. It is subject to destruction. Whereas Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, they cannot be destroyed. They are beginningless and endless. So there is some distinction here.
Okay, bro.
Such a karta bhokta siddha. That the Ishvara and the Jiva, both of them are doers, kartas, and bhoktas is proven. Sarvagya sarvavit karta bodha iti padebhyah. From the specific words found in the Shruti, Sarvagya sarvavit, he knows everything and he attains everything. And the Vijnana Purusha, he is a doer and he knows. So this is a reference to both Ishvara and the Jiva. Anubhavitritvam khalu bhoktritvam sarva abhyupagatam. It is accepted by all who accept the authority of Vedanta Darshan that bhokta here simply means anubhavita, one who experiences. So karta means a doer, a responsible agent. And Bhokta means an experiencer, one who can experience. The Jivatma is a responsible agent and he is an experiencer. And Ishvara, Lord Krishna, he is also a responsible agent and he is also an experiencer. Soshnate sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipashchita iti shrutehe hetu ubhayoh tat pravyaktam saha shnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipashchita. These are all famous statements from the Upanishads. So this statement of the Shruti very clearly reveals that both the Ishvara and the Jiva are doers and experiencers. The statement is about a liberated soul, one who attains final liberation. He attains all of his desirables along with Brahman. He refers to the liberated soul. The liberated soul attains all of anything that can be desired. He attains that along with Brahman. Brahman, who is described as Vipaschit, which means one who is omniscient. So here, he experiences all kinds of desirables. So he's an experiencer. But at the same time, he is along with Brahma, who sees everything. Vipaschit. Brahman is described as Vipaschit. So Lord Vishnu, he knows everything. So here, it's very, very evident that both Ishvara and the Jiva, they are doers and they are experiencers. Yadyapi samvit swarupat samvetritva adi na anyat prakasha swarupat ravehi iva prakashakatva adi tathapi vishesha samarthyat tat anyatva vyavahara. Even though consciousness is not different from conscious being and so on, or experience is not different from the experiencing being and so on. Just like the sun is light and it is the giver of light. So there are many instances like that. It is light and the provider of light. Tathapi, still, even though they are not distinct, even though Krishna being consciousness and Krishna being the conscious being, both of these two features coexist in him and they are the same. Tathapi, still, Vishesha Samarthya, because of the capacity of something known as Vishesha, spiritual variegatedness, Vishesha. There is simply a usage of a difference between them. Visheshaha cha bheda prathinidhi na bhedaha. And that Vishesha or variegatedness, it refers to a representation of difference when there is no difference. Sahacha bheda abhave api bheda karyasya dharma dharmi bhava adi vyavaharasya hetuhu. Even though there is no difference between the two, it is a cause for practically distinguishing between the two. For instance, for practically saying that the nature of a thing and the thing which possesses that nature, how are they distinct from each other? They are not distinct, but it is due to the very fact of variegatedness that we talk about them as if they are different. He gives some examples. Satta sati. Existence exists. Bhedaha bhinnaha. Difference is different. Kalaha sarvada asti. Time exists constantly. Ityadishu vidvadvihi pratitaha. These facts are known even to the learned souls. Tat pratiti anyatha anubhavatya. Evam dharman pratak pashyams tan eva anuvidhavati iti shrutya cha siddha. So the existence of variegatedness is proven in two ways. The first way is because there is no other way to explain reasonably. There's no other reasonable way to explain such an observation by the learned souls, and on the basis of the Shruti text itself. Here is a statement from one of the Upanishads. That person who sees the qualities of the Supreme Lord to be different from him or separable from him will only attain them. He will not attain him. In other words, he becomes materialistic because he has a materialistic misconception about the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord's qualities are actually non-different from him. To consider them to be different from him is actually a conceptual offense. Iha hi brahmadharman abhidhaya tad bhedaha pratishidhyate. In this Shruti text, there is a reference to the qualities of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, Krishna, and it is the Shruti text forbids us from distinguishing between that Supreme Lord and his qualities. Na khalu bheda pratinidhehe tasya api abhave dharma dharmi bhava dharma bahutve shakye vaktum. It is not possible to speak about the several features such as possessing a qualified object, possessing various qualities in the absence of accepting such a representation of difference. It is only a representation of difference. It is not actual difference. Iti anechubhihi api svikaryaha syuhu. So in that way, even though who do not desire to accept this conceptual tool known as variegatedness, Vishesha, are obliged to accept them. Te ime arthaha shastre asmin yathasthanam anusandeya. All of these can be scrutinized in their appropriate places in this scripture. Iha hi, in this book, Jivatma Paramatma Tadhama Tadprapti Upayanam Swarupani Yathavat Nirupyante. In this Bhagavad-gita, the natures of the Jivatma, the Paramatma, his abode, and the means to attain that abode are properly described. Tatra Jivatma Yathatmyam Paramatma Yathatmya Upayogitaya Paramatma Yathatmyam tu Tad Upasana Upayogitaya Prakriti Adikam tu Paramatmanah Svashtu Upakaranataya Upadishyate. So now if these natures of the Jivatma, the Paramatma, the abode of Paramatma, and the means to attain that abode are the subjects that are described here, then what about the point that everything is meant to be, everything is described just to describe Ishvara? So he explains the nature of the Jivatma is explained because it helps us understand the nature of the Paramatma. The nature of Paramatma is described because it is helpful to engage in meditative worship of that Paramatma. Prakriti Kala Karma, they are all described because they are the ingredients that are used by the Paramatma as the creator, maintainer, dissolver of this world. Tad upayaha cha karma jnana bhakti bhedat tredha. And the means to attain the Lord are threefold: karma, jnana, and bhakti. Tatra shruta tat tat phala nairapekshena कर्तृत्व अभिनिवेश परित्यागेन च अनुष्ठितस्य स्वविहितस्य कर्मणः हृद्विशुद्धि द्वारा ज्ञानभक्त्योः उपकारित्वात् परम्परया तत्प्राप्तौ उपायत्वम्. So now, why is karma considered to be a means? So he explains that when one is indifferent to all the beneficial results taught in the scriptures, even after learning about them from the scriptures, and when one abandons one's obsession that he is the sole responsible agent for everything that happens under his control, when one carries out his karma, his material duty. His material duty means the duty that is specifically prescribed for him. Then, through purification of heart, through Hrid Vishuddhi, through complete purification, through purification of heart, there will be some help for engagement in the processes of jnana and bhakti. So, therefore, karma is, you can say, a preliminary or an indirect means to help one attain the Lord. Tacha Shruti Vihita Karma Himsa Shunyam Atra Mukhyam. And when we talk about material duties, we are specifically talking about material duties that are prescribed in the Shruti and which are devoid of violence. These are the ones that produce greater help in making it easy to practice jnana and bhakti. Moksha dharme पिता पुत्र आदि संवादात हिंसावत तु गौण विप्रकृष्टत्वात्. In the moksha dharma portion of Mahabharata, we see that material duties that involve violence are considered to be secondary because they are low class in nature. And we learned this from the conversation between the father and the son in moksha dharma. Tayohu tu sakshadeva tathatvam. On the other hand, jnana and bhakti are directly the means. Okay, we'll stop at that. Any questions? If there are no questions, we'll stop with that. Then next he asks a question and he answers it. It's a little more complex. It'll take some more. It'll take a few minutes to explain it. Okay. Ansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo.